in 2014, Lisa,
Yes.
I wrote a review about your album, I'm Changing. The
Thank
album
you.
is laying here.
That's right.
I have some questions, some remarks, I don't know. There are 10 original songs on the album. Compared with the albums before, that's
Tempered in Fire.
a lot of original songs. Was that the first album with so many original songs on it? No?
Well, I don't know if you know the background of I'm Changing, but I originally recorded most of those tracks back in 2005 in Mobile, Alabama. And it only had 10 songs on it. It never had any publicity or radio. It was never online for sale at Amazon or iTunes or anything like that. I just sold it at the gigs, and then it went out of print.
I read that, yes.
Yeah, it went out of print.
Before in 2005.
In 2005. So then
The
years...
reason why the remake, because of you didn't have the result or no album, no?
Say that again.
The reason why you recorded again.
I didn't re-record it.
No.
Remixed it.
Remixed it. That's right.
Remixed it and added some more songs, and I actually re-recorded at least one of the songs completely. It just felt unfinished to me, and I didn't think that it got a chance to be heard, and it had mostly my songs on it, so I felt it was important to get that out, and primarily it was some really good friends of mine in Mobile who encouraged me to go get it remixed and redone because they just thought it was a great album, and it represents who I am as a singer-songwriter. Thank you. Thank you. So I sort of, reclaimed that album from 2005 by getting it remixed and reimagined and redone, and it was the first time I'd ever done a Kickstarter campaign. Yeah.
With
and
your fans?
My fans actually helped me get this album done. Yeah.
Good reactions?
Fantastic. Yeah, it was successful. I got the album done. I used Mark Pucci, as you know, as a publicist, and he did a great job. And I got a review from Roots Time. Hey. So yeah, it's been doing really well. It's been doing really well.
The mix was done by Trina Schumacher.
Trina Shoemaker.
Yes. Why a lady? Why did you choose for her?
It's not because of whether she's a woman or not. She's great. She's just great.
She's Grammy Awards.
Well, yeah, Grammy Awards, and she's the first woman to ever win a Grammy Award for audio engineering.
Because a woman can feel more.
Yeah. No, the reason it was a lot of it was circumstances. She and her husband live in the area. And when my English bass player was over helping me re-record these tracks, we went to a show at a local club called Callahan's. They were having Mardi Gras on Joe Kane Sunday, and her husband was playing a show there, and it just hit me when I introduced Ian to Trina. I said, God, Ian, she's a fabulous audio engineer, because we didn't know how I was going to mix the album. We got the recording done, but we didn't have the mixing set up. And he said, why don't you ask her? What have you got to lose? And I asked her, and she loved the album, and she wanted to do it. So I feel really lucky that Trina came on board to help me reclaim I'm Changing. She did a fantastic job. It was not easy because these songs, when they were recorded, it's kind of complicated, but I really tried to record the songs as live as possible. Yeah. And when you do that, sometimes you get the bleed from other instruments and microphones and how you set it up. And she had a lot of work to go back in there and pick through everything. Because think about it, if she wanted to bring my voice up in this one song, but the drums bleed into the vocal mic. Every time she raised my vocal, the drums get raised up too. So it was a tricky, unique situation for her to go in and redo this. And I think she did an amazing job. Amazing job.
Her name's Shoemaker.
Shoemaker.
It's not a name from the States, no?
I don't know. She's American. But a name like Shoemaker, is that German? Maybe.
That's why I asked. Yeah.
Well, they're Americans are. We're a Heinz 57. We got a little bit of everything going on.
Mm-hmm. But you already have a new album.
I do. Yeah, and it's
Tell us something about
your
new album. Because now you have free promotion time. So
oh, yeah, great.
So you can put
this. Yeah, this new album is unlike anything I've done before. It's a studio. It's
not
a studio.
the same style as I'm Changing album. No.
Well,
I don't think so.
you'll still get me
Yeah.
and my voice and my influences, which are, blues and soul and gospel and the roots of American music. But the songs are all cover songs except for one. I'll just give you a background. It's the album is a tribute to my late mother, who passed away 4 years ago. And after she died,
That means that she was a great music lover.
she was. I didn't know how much of a music lover. I just always thought she was my biggest fan, but she really loved music. And after she died, I had a bunch of her things I took home with me. And I don't know, it was months later, I went down in the garage and finally had the heart to look through the boxes. And I picked up this little notebook, this little tattered, beat up old notebook from Dollar General store. And inside of it were all these lyrics to some of her favorite songs from the 1970s, early 1970s. Everything from Dolly Parton.
Just great.
Yeah, Dolly Parton, Elvis Presley, oh my God, Three Dog Night. Geez, there's so many of them, I can't think of their names. But they're mostly country songs from the early 1970s. And on each page, she would have the title of the song, where she lived at the time, like Columbia, Mississippi, or Hattiesburg, or whatever, Pascagoula. And then she'd have the date, and she'd have the name of the artist, okay? So I had that notebook last year. Last year when I came here to visit my friends in Nijmegen, my friend Lothar, he said, people in Europe would really love this project. You should do it. You should really do it. You should do it. And of course, I mostly want to do it as a tribute to my mom, but he also thought it'd be a great idea for here. And so I said, oh yeah. And I was thinking about it, researching, looking through the book. And several months later, when I was on the phone to my boyfriend in New York, I was flipping through and I was asking him, what about this song? What about this song? Because he is a former writer and editor for Rolling Stone magazine, so he knows all about music. And I thought, well, tell me about this artist and this song. And we got to the one page in the middle, and I said, this one doesn't have a name. He said, well, what's the title? And I said, well, it's called A Song of Love. And he said, well, that's pretty generic. Why don't you read me some of the lyrics? So I'm holding the book, and I'm on the phone, and I'm going down, I'm just reading this, and you're married to another. And I get right in the middle, and all of a sudden, it hits me. My mom wrote a song.
Ooh.
I get chills. And so because in the middle of it, it said Jan, and that was her nickname, Jan. Jan, and I had to hang up the phone. So that was a really big surprise to find lyrics in the notebook that she wrote.
So you have to put the
So what I
music on it?
did, fast forward this past February, I went into a studio in New Orleans with Trina Shoemaker as the producer and audio engineer, and we recorded 11 of the songs from the notebook. And I did that by way of what I call Mama's Angels. There were some of my super fans, my super fans and friends and relatives who donated or loaned me money so that I can go in the studio to record the songs. That's one part. Okay, so I got those 11 songs recorded with Trina, and they're beautiful. And we did it in a very stripped down way. The idea being mostly myself and one other instrument, And then along the way, I expanded that to include a couple of tracks that are almost full band. One of them is a full band recording. And we did them as live as possible, where we're all in the same room together. After we finished that, then there were some musicians who came in and added a few parts, like the B3 Hammond player for Bonnie Raitt played on 2 songs. Yeah, he's amazing.
You're a lucky one.
And the bass player for Lucinda Williams played on another track. And it was mostly Southern musicians. And so since February, I'd been working on trying to get the money to finish the album. There's a lot more to it than just recording. And I was very lucky to run a Kickstarter campaign, and it was funded successfully. So I was able to finish it before I came over. Literally, the album arrived the Friday before I flew on Wednesday. And all I did Monday and Tuesday, it was mail out over 300 CDs to Kickstarter supporters and Mama's Angels. Yeah, so it's really fresh, it's really new. And although the songs are country, mostly in origin, I made them into more of a soul, blues, gospel. And along the way, I kind of discovered something new in my artistry, in my way of singing and playing, that's different than anything I've done before. And I don't know how to explain it, but it's very atmospheric. it's almost like Roy Orbison in a way, or Otis Redding, or something, and it's really unique. And in the post production, we did a couple of days of studio. I think back in April, we went back in the studio in Mobile, did some post production, and I finally recorded Mom's song. I put her words to music, and I created an arrangement, and I made a little bit of a chorus, but mostly I just kept her words just like they were. They're not professionally done with a rhyme, but they're beautiful. It's almost like a poem. And so her song is the last song on the album. It has 12 tracks.
Fantastic story.
Yeah,
And you have a unique song.
her song, it's beautiful. So when I sing her song, I feel this power and this energy. I mean, imagine, here she was, 40 years ago or so? She wrote those words down, and then all this time later, I find them. Gonna cry.
Just great.
And then, sing them just.
But let's talk about tonight. Tonight you're